everyone, to another episode of Spooky Japan Podcast. Hoping everyone is doing all right. Today, we have our very special guest with us, Heather with Haunted Emporium. How are you doing today, Heather?
I am very well, thank you.
So, what got you into the paranormal? Where did your journey begin?
We would have to go all the way back to probably about the 1980s if we were really going to talk about where it started. Um, as a teenager, I had my first experience when I was about 14 years old, I think, and that definitely kicked things off. That there were things there that I just couldn't see.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where our journey began, kind of when we started seeing things that other people really couldn't see or hear things other people really couldn't hear. So have you been investigating a lot of places, or where has been like your favorite kind of place to be?
Um, I've been I've been to a good handful of places in the Northeast, of the United States. I My favorite place, the place that truly has my heart, is a place called Wilson Castle that is located in Proctor, Vermont, and it's got this wild backstory of these incredibly rich Europeans that came over to build this castle. The husband was kind of a swindler, but he married a woman with money, and he started building this huge, I mean, just this gorgeous castle up in Vermont. And eventually, her family cut him off from the money, and he was like, "All right," and he just packed up and left. Um, and the current owner's family bought it. I want to say back in like the 40s it's been in their family a long, long time, and they've just been trying to keep this building going and do all the renovations. And when they opened the doors to the paranormal quite a few years back, and that is what has kept the life into it. And that I first saw it, I think I was about 8 years old the first time I went, and didn't know you could investigate it because I was just a kid, this way back when. And a few years ago, I found out that you could go there, and I was like, oh. And then the owners are beautiful people too, so it just everything is perfect. So they have my heart for sure.
So I see that you're in Massachusetts. Have you ever been to Salem? I'm not sure how
Yeah,
far that is from you.
Salem. I grew up. Well, the Northeast traffic is notorious, but on a good day, open roads, I grew up probably about 40 minutes outside of Salem, or south of Salem, I should say, just outside. I could see the Boston skyline from my bedroom window growing up, so it wasn't too far out of the city. I'm a little further away now, but still not very far. I can be to Salem maybe about an hour and a half now.
That's not too bad. We were
No,
discussing it
not at all.
before how Salem's a nice place to visit, but not in like September or especially October.
No, I wouldn't. I honestly, and Salem, it's very, I've got a love-hate relationship with it, right? It's extremely touristy. It's extremely commercialized now, and I think we've definitely, I feel like, lost track of why the city is popular, because they weren't even witches. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting dynamic. So for sure.
Someone made a good point that they weren't really witches who were tried and hung for being a witch, and they're just like, someone made a good point. Like, I wonder how mad they are when they see people dress up like witches to walk around the town.
I can only imagine it would infuriate them, considering that they were, um, I mean, their lives were ended over it for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, what exactly happened? Nobody really can say definitively what happened. I do know that the general idea around here that we discuss is that it sounds like probably an ergot fungus is most likely how it started. But if you were accused and and found guilty, they could, I mean, they just would take your stuff.
Yeah,
So I know that's why I think Giles Corey, he was the one that was pressed under the boards and just kept saying more weight, because if he admitted to anything or to get them to stop, he would lose everything, all of his property, everything, and he still had a family that he was providing for.
that's
And
one of the reasons.
had he,
Yeah, that's
so
the main
it's
reason why they
sad.
think he said the more weight is because
Yep.
if he ever just went the easier route and just said, "Yeah, I'm a witch," just to end it, they would have taken his land, which was like the
Yes.
law back then.
Yeah. And it's and most of these things too, most of the people, all this uh, chaos that happened around their village actually isn't in Salem. It's they were from Salem Village, not from Salem, and Salem Village is not even Salem anymore. It's Danvers now. So that's another, another thing, that they were brought in to what we consider Salem today for a trial, though I think some were held in Boston jails. So I don't really know. I'm not extremely versed in how it all played out, but most of the homes and the properties that these people came from is from Danvers as opposed to Salem proper.
That's interesting. I wonder how haunted that place is then compared to like Salem.
Um, well, Danvers Danvers had one of our notorious asylums there as well. So I'm sure I don't know that it's necessarily more or less haunted in either place. I don't think I don't think, honestly, the witch trials played a big part in any of the current hauntings. I mean, maybe on their homesteads, like you said, in the wherever their houses were in Danvers. If I trying to think if Rebecca Nurse's house, I think somebody's, if not that the house, right, the property, I believe they still know where that is. We're gonna get into the part where I don't know.
There is a house you can
So
still see. It was one of the first guys though that was tried though. I forgot his name, but it still stands. You can still see it.
yeah, it could be. The only one that I know of for sure is, I want to say it was the house that Corwin was out of, and they've completely redone it. And I believe it looks far spookier now, the way that they've redone it, than it did when he was living there during the witch trials. But and that's the what I'm almost positive they call it just the witch house, but no witches were ever or no witches, right? Air quotes here, witches ever lived there.
Yeah, that's it's always interesting the history of Salem. It's really weird to see how Salem has changed from anti witch to basically everyone's dressing up like a witch and celebrating witchcraft there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun place to go. It was one of those things when my niece was a young teen and I found out that she was interested in everything spooky. I had my sister send her out and I took her up there for the day. It's just what we do. But it's not someplace that I would choose to go to, mostly because it's just so touristy. It's all the little shops and stuff that are up there. And some of the shops are great, some of them, you know, not so much, but
Shopsy Museum. I've heard the museum there.
There's a couple of museums. There's honestly, if I were to go to look at anything up there, the Witch Museum has like you walk through it, it's got little displays with like wax figure kind of things that talk about some stuff. It's very old and outdated. Last time I went, I was kind of disappointed that it hasn't been kind of updated a little bit. The one thing I think is cool if you are in the area that I would go see is the Salem Witchboard Museum, because that one I love that they've got all the Ouija boards and stuff, all the different kinds and history of it. And the Ouija boards were the company that made them for years. They were actually based out of Salem, which was
Oh, really?
interesting. And I think that was just coincidental. Yeah, just a weird little coincidence. They're not there anymore. I don't think they're in Salem anymore, but some of them, if you look at some of the boxes, you'll see on them that they were made and sold from Salem.
That is crazy. I never would have guessed that. Especially because they started out as a children's toy.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're starting to make some look more kid friendly now. If you look on like Amazon, you'll see like kitty ones and stuff like that.
You know, there's definitely some interesting Ouija boards. Once, I think the funniest one that I saw, oh God, I want to say it came out 2 years ago. And I think it was definitely on Amazon, was the only place that I saw it. And I remember when it came onto my radar, it was like a gag. Like people were making fun of it. It became this meme because it was a Christian Ouija board, which is bizarre.
I
And it was like,
saw
speak
that.
directly to Jesus. And I'm like, what are you talking
I
about?
saw
Like,
that, and I could have posted about it, and and people are just like, "This is made up. This is not real." And I'm like, "No, I actually found it on Amazon."
I ended up not buying one, but I know a couple people that did. They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get one because it's so funny," and I was just like, "Yeah." I was this close, and I almost bought it, but then I said, "I got other stuff going, more important things in my life," because no one else is gonna care if I have that and tuck it away somewhere. No one else will be like, "Oh, look at this cool thing I found," and mom's, they're not, yeah, they all think I'm crazy.
Has there ever been a place that has been too scary that you would not want to go back to?
There's never been a place that I have felt like I wouldn't go back, and there's never been a place that has scared me out. Um, have I had freaky things happen that have given me pause? Absolutely. I've also been in places where I've been nervous and uncomfortable. 9 times out of 10, though, with that, it's more that there's something that, um perfect example, Mid-Orange Correctional Facility. We were out there, uh, we were in the cottages out outside of the main fenced in area. The cottages are out back, the doors are wide open. There's no windows on half of them. Everything's just open to the elements. And I'd asked, as we usually do you ever find anything in there that shouldn't be in there, as we're going to go wandering around in the dark,
Hmm.
at night by ourselves? And they said, well, we can get animals. And my first thing is, are there bears? Do you have bears? I'm convinced a bear is going to take me out one day. Like, they're my fear. uh, but he's like, yeah, no, not really that. He's like, occasionally we found people, trespassers out there, and that freaks me out more than anything else. Because if we run into, I would hate to be somewhere and stumble upon like a homeless person or something like that, and then they're scared, they don't know, and I don't know how they're going to act. They don't know what I'm going to do, and it could just be, it just that worries me more than anything else. I like secure. I like to be able
I've
to
had
lock
a
doors, go
friend.
inside, and
Yeah, I've had a friend actually run in that same situation where they were somewhere There was a homeless person, and they're just like, this person was on crack or something, and this homeless person, and it chased them. I'm like, that's my biggest fear because I don't run fast, so I don't know what they're gonna do when they grab me.
I don't either. I don't either. I like hobble along. I would have been, yeah, I would have
Like,
been done if they.
I was like, well, luckily you guys were fast, but I'm not a fast runner, so he'll probably get me. I don't know then.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would have if there had been, but it hasn't happened. It's just that's always the fear in the back of my mind. It just hasn't, thankfully. And most of the places that I go to are places that are contained. They're,
Hmm.
they're either houses, mansions, old not I don't do any urbexing, so that they're always everywhere I go, they're almost always either during the day open to the public or they're pay to play locations where I've rented them out for the night and
Yeah,
I should theoretically be the only person there, whoever I'm there with.
I've done that for vaccine, and there's always now. I'm just once you get older, you realize I'm not going to do that because if I'm caught, I'm probably going to be charged for trespassing. It's not worth it.
Yep. So and that's basically what I've got a friend of mine that did it for a long time. It's not and he never he doesn't like break things to get in. He doesn't he's not tagging things, vandalizing. Is he still trespassing? Sure. you know, but I I don't judge people that do it. I guess for places that are kind of open and you can walk in, if you're smashing windows or trying to kick out doors then yeah, I'm gonna definitely judge you hard for that. Um, yeah, just one of those things. But I won't do it because I'm afraid. I'm like, because it'll happen. I will get arrested. It'll be me. So I don't know how I would come home and tell my kids that. Oh yeah, mommy just went to jail last night. No big deal.
Yeah,
I had two teenage boys that I'm like, don't do bad things. So
jail here in Japan is more strict than back in the US. So I'm like, I definitely don't want to go there. And that's why people are just like, how come you're not trying to enter any of these abandoned houses to investigate? And I'm just like, it's not worth me going to jail here. It's more strict, it's colder, it's darker. I'm not I'm not doing that.
no, it's yeah. I watch exploring with Josh a lot. I love seeing the places, and I know he's gotten back into the travel, and he was definitely out and doing the paranormal for a while, and that was really cool to watch. But now he's kind of getting back to his roots, and he just did a huge thing. He was overseas for quite a few months, and some of these ones, I'm just like, wow, I would be such a chicken. I would not. I don't even know. I would be such a chicken to do that.
Mm.
He's definitely brave because there's been, I mean, the ones over here in Japan, he'll post some of the videos where he's hiding from the police, and I'm just like, I don't have that kind of luck. If I have to hide from police, more likely I'm gonna be found. So
Yeah, and like you said, like I can't run. So I like I would just be like, I'm here, just take me because I'm not running. Not gonna make it. But
It'd be better if he got permission to go to these places
yep.
instead of just trying to hide from police because it's actually it's not right.
No, oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. That's why I don't do it.
And
But I do enjoy watching other people's videos that do it, and I
mhm,
kind of live vicariously through them. As a property owner, I know that I would be mad if somebody broke into
yeah,
my space. So
yeah,
there's definitely for sure. So I can 100% acknowledge the hypocrisy in some of in my enjoyment of watching it, but there it is.
but there
Uh,
are some places here that you shouldn't be going, not because it's not because you're doing it out of permission, but because it's really bad. Bad meaning haunted bad, and bad meaning bad energy, and bad meaning like if you're not really good at what you're doing this way, you could be like that way, right?
I know. I
Meaning,
think I know what you mean. Yeah.
and
It,
not for tomorrow or not for the day after tomorrow, but forever, right? And they'll be putting flowers where you are.
Mhm.
That's how bad it is. And it's just that you have to be very careful about where you're going. Some of the places are not meant to be visited. Some of the places you can, some places you can't. There's a lot of places that you shouldn't.
mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely, I mean, there's places that have certain,
Energy.
we bring it back to Salem. Well, bringing it back to Salem too, like the cultural significance of a place makes a big difference, and
Yeah.
to understand and respect it, and which I think is probably like one of my issues with Salem. Like these people didn't have like for everybody to come in and just do all this
Nonsense
like
stuff, right?
which yeah, like I mean, and I don't care about anybody's religious beliefs. Like I think
No.
everybody can do whatever you want if
Yeah.
you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
But I think about how the witch, the movement of witchcraft has taken off so much in Salem, and I think of like there's a large community around the Satanic Temple in Salem, and I think about it, and then if people go there for that, but then you go there to see where they've put the memorial to the victims of the Salem witch trials, I think to myself, like you were saying earlier, like how would they feel? Like to me it's sad that we've lost that cultural significance of what happened in this space, and we've perverted it and made it into something else.
Yeah.
So
and
knowing what
you're labeling them as witches when we don't know what they were, and they were just threw a label on them and said, okay, you're a witch.
Sure.
You did something bad.
Well, we still do. Yeah, we still do that today. We still do that. If you look at The Conjuring, you look at Bathsheba Sherman, who no longer has a headstone because people vandalized it saying that she was a witch. Well, she was actually an upstanding member of the Baptist church in her local community, and where she served with them through her entire life into old age. And then, she passed away. She was buried in the cemetery, the consecrated ground, which they never would have done if she was a witch. And all this stuff. And she has no headstone because somebody made a movie.
Tofu 1個。豆腐1個。豆腐1丁。あれ、切る。Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, these labels really, I don't know, because someone said that you were something, and you really, I think you wanted to protect your property against the outside forces and be just left alone, really made them out to something that you can't prove that they were or weren't, right?
Right. Well, I think I think the difference, though, the differences in them, say the Salem witch trials, at least they weren't listened to. They obviously, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But at least they were given the opportunity to speak
Mhm.
for themselves. Bathsheba, by the time the Conjuring movie came out, by the time Ed and Lorraine had decided that they were going to
Mhm.
use this woman, who there is no historic record of her ever even being on the property
Yeah.
where the Conjuring house was, much less ever lived there or ever did any of the things that they said. And I don't even know, and this, we can't even say, oh well, this is somebody from the late 1600s that didn't know
Mhm.
what they were talking about. Like, we're,
Yeah.
this is Ed and Lorraine Warren from,
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the early 2000s,
Mhm.
made this movie and then did a whole circuit saying,
Mhm.
yeah, this is it, and continued to slander this poor
Mhm.
woman who's not alive to defend herself.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and she doesn't have a headstone. She's got the little base that you put a headstone on, and that's all she's got. Because
Mm.
every time
Oh,
they fixed it and put it back, people came and vandalized it, because she's a witch, right? So she's bad, she's evil,
Yeah.
and it's sad. Um,
They
but we're
had.
definitely still,
Mhm. We're kind of like learning from our mistakes, and some people can't learn it at all, so they keep on making the same little
yeah,
stupid mistakes. I mean, they had. I'm not gonna label them as such, but I'm gonna use the word. They had women here who are prosecuted for doing the same thing, but then the women here were midwives. They used herbs. They used tree bark and stuff like that, and they used certain types of. They dried the herbs and they made teas, or they made powder of it, and they gave it to sick people who, usually for free, not charging like a doctor would, long
mm-hmm.
time ago here, right? And if you didn't have money, if you were not well off, you wouldn't be able to see one, right? And the doctor would do the same, use the same herbs as this lady did, right? As this midwife did. And the thing is that they were prosecuted, they were killed, their children were killed too, with the mother.
mhm.
The only person that was spared was the husband, because it was that kind of thing. It was mostly like a male country, right?
Yep.
And they were done in the same way, on fire, alive, to death, right?
They definitely didn't do that. There was
Yeah,
no burning
yeah, but
here.
they did that here, and it was pretty bad. There
Yeah,
was a it has a brutal history. Okay, no, you won't find it in any records, because there won't be any records. It's just what happened, and the only thing that you'll find it from here is from listening to the older people, the old people, because nobody young knows anything about whatever happened in this country. It's just, they had a lot of there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened. If you're a Christian, if you believed in Jesus Christ, if you believed in anything like that, you'd be crucified. As long, along with the priest, the priest will be also crucified.
um,
And yeah, and it's haunted too. There are two places, one where Amanda lives, and the other one is a little bit further away from her. Yeah, there was the most Christians live where Amanda lives. Um,
wow.
yeah, And yeah, they would be taken to a mountaintop or big hill, and yeah, that's what happened to you.
Huh.
And mm-hmm, um because this is a Buddhist country, okay?
Uh, oh, wait.
Yeah,
Okay. That seems
and
I see, I don't know a lot about Buddhism, but one
but
of the things that always the one thing that I always assumed was that it was a very peaceful religion. So it is a very interesting,
yeah,
okay.
so yeah,
I mean, it could just be my ignorance of it, like I said, I always thought
it's
it was
it's you know you got it's a I have a love-hate relationship with it, okay? I was raised as a Catholic, okay? But
me too.
yeah, the stuff that went on, we can't forgive and you can't forget.
Mhm.
It was just one of those crazy things that happened, and it's all part of our history that you can't agree or you can't disagree with because it happened, right? And that's why I think there's so much conflict that made this country so haunted. You
Mm.
don't have to go far to find anything haunted. Just go at your front door. Amanda goes out her front door, she finds it. She'll find
Yeah.
something haunted. You don't have to pay to find anything haunted either. uh,
Well, I mean, you don't ha I we could say the same
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but it's
It's
just a matter of whether or not you want to investigate it and get
it's
something, get it quiet.
houses, buildings, places, um, places that are not open to the public or places that are cut off. They're all open. They're all open, but nobody wants to go there because it's that bad. It's just I call it crazy. I mean, you can buy a property or you can buy a house that you don't know the history of it. There's no laws against it. It's haunted. Okay, you're if you don't have a clairvoyant with you buying your property, you don't know what happened. You don't know what it gives out in the end, right? So yeah, it can be cheap. It doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's just the way it is here. And records, forget about that because
It's
there's
just not records of here. It's just not a thing.
no. And if they have something that's historical, they might find the good part about it, but the bad part about it is not written there. And
Mm,
we want to find out the good part, not just good part, the bad part too. It's really important to see why the building is so soil, why the project is so soil, what happened on the land, why is the land so soiled, right? It makes a big difference. And
sure.
mm-mm,
I am always curious about what, um,
yeah,
what
and
causes different places to be haunted,
yeah,
for sure.
and yeah, it's just some of them have a really bad history. Some places are really bad, but yeah, you're wondering why is it so bad? What gives here and what happened here? You're not gonna find out, right? You're never gonna find out unless you find an old person that lives near that property for a long time. May tell you
Mm.
if you're willing to sit there for hours and hours and listen to them, which I would do. But yeah, it's just few and few now, and because the property taxes are so darn tootin' expensive now, the people are forced to sell off their property, especially if it
Mm.
had something bad on it. And non-developers go in and build houses, or not houses, but build apartments on it, right? And apartments are not cheap. they're about 1,500 plus, and you have to have double the amount to even have the down payment plus next month's rent plus insurance to make sure that you're not going to keep the place clean or whatever, right? Not damage it. It's damage deposit.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
just absolutely crazy, and it's the psychological thinking about. I rent a suite, and then there's Samurai Warrior that has half this way up, and they're walking through the walls. And
Okay.
you, yeah, and you paying so much rent, right? And he's standing there looking at you, and he's walking through this wall, walking through that wall. So that's one huge portal, right? And yeah, the people who are in it's like Hollywood in Japan, in Tokyo, and they think, you know what, my apartment's haunted. And they go, why? Because I got this old warrior walking through my wall. And they said, and the land is really bad because they had some kind of battle on it or something like that happened, right? And they're wondering why, and, they said, but they're selling their properties off like hotcakes, and it's just really sad because it's not historical anymore.
Yeah, it that's something that I'm curious to see what happens as time goes on through a
Yeah.
lot of the properties that we had our old asylums on
Mm-hmm.
have now been made into condos,
Yeah.
most of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, I would do it. Well, not that I don't know that I would be happy in a condo like with all the other people. I definitely like to be out in the country a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But if if given the opportunity, I would definitely stay in one for a while and see. But I love this stuff. I cannot imagine I could really even find a handful of people that I know that would choose to do that. Because they just wouldn't want to risk it. And these condos in some of these places, I mean, they're selling for over $1 million a piece
Mm-hmm.
for the condo and the building. So it's like it's crazy money, and to go in there and do that, and then possibly have somebody living with you that
Yeah.
who knows how or why they're there, who knows what state they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think that would be fascinating, I just I can't imagine that everybody living there feels that way.
I lived in a condo. People outlive themselves, right? Outdone themselves, okay? 18 so far when we moved out was the last person. And we had police knocking on our door at 7 o'clock morning because the lady was found on the deck where they have meetings. And yeah, they nobody knew her. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to live there. I wouldn't want my worst enemies to live there, because you could outdo yourself that way, or you could die, or you could get sick, or you could run out of money. Pick your choice. It's a multiple choice. Pick your choice, which one you want. We lived there for 20 years. I don't think I could ever ask anyone to live there. We ran away, we kind of ran away. We left half of our stuff there. I said, leave it. I said, leave it. I don't want that energy coming to my new place. It was full of negative energy. It was really bad. You just don't want to bring that with you to a clean place, right? But yeah, it's just, you'd have to be careful. Your younger children won't mark up the walls or write something on the walls, because if you do, you're afraid that they'll be able to read it, right? So you use an eraser and you heavy duty eraser, you erase everything on there. You'd be careful not to fight, not to get angry, because that gives them energy, right? And you would see spirits all around in your home, outside your home, everywhere. It was pretty bad. Kids couldn't play. If they fought, they would get a full apparition on the glass window pane. Because my daughter said, the boys were fighting. We were playing tag, and the boys were fighting, and one of the boys didn't want to be it. So as soon as the boys were fighting, there's a lady that apparition appeared on the glass window, and she was going, she was laughing. Oh yeah. She was laughing because they were fighting. The kids ran to my suite. My daughter ran home. She goes, and I said, what happened? I said, Mom, do you believe me? Yeah, I do. Come on, tell me. What did you see? And she told me what she saw. She said the lady was going, ha, 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 at her because the boys were fighting. And they were drawing energy from that fighting, because that whole place, everyone was fighting upstairs and downstairs, everywhere. Everyone was in a scrap about some stupid dumb thing, right? It was the most dumbest thing you'd fight about. But they were in their own realm and fighting, and they couldn't figure out why. And my kids were fighting, and my husband and I, we were fighting, and we couldn't figure out why. But yeah, we finally got away from there. It was like like this, it was pretty bad. I mean, it was pretty nasty, and you can't. And I was looking for help, but you can't find anybody who would cleanse 144 suites, right? They'll call you. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just something that you live through. I don't. We only live 45 minutes by car. We can go there, but we can go this. I know where it is. We can go there by car. We can go there by train. It's not too far away. Like, yeah, it's just, I call it hell on earth. It is hell on earth, believe me. I know some people are still live there. I know a lady, her husband died of brain cancer. He was 36 years old. He was healthy as can be, and he's dead the next day. So yeah, you
Hmm.
just don't want to mess with that. And if I see that place, that makes me like this, because I don't like the energy. And it's an interesting place to investigate if you're nuts. You got to be kind of nuts to do what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely nuts.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I mean, Amanda and I, we keep quiet about what we do. We don't tell anybody locally. We don't tell our neighbors what we do. We don't do anything like that. We just kind of like, And especially me, I can't tell anybody what I do. It's just one of those things that you don't do in this country. But
Oh.
but the country rolls revolves around paranormal. Everything that you do is paranormal. Everything that you do is protect yourself from it coming after you, or it bothering you, or it coming in your house, right? So yeah, it's just well, that's all paranormal, isn't it? No, that's called protecting your house. No, no, it's paranormal. The kids programs that they watch when they're little, they're all paranormal. The comic books, paranormal. TV shows, paranormal. All comics are all paranormal. But yet they don't want to admit it. I do. They'll say, no, that's just entertainment. Okay. Like,
It comes from somewhere, right? You don't, these
yeah,
ideas, there's always little something hiding, little truth underneath everything, for sure.
I kind of have to laugh about it. Okay, yeah,
I don't
okay,
know that I don't know that I could survive not telling people what I do, because
yeah.
stuff just comes out of my mouth. I,
Sometimes
they,
I want to say it, But I have to go, okay, bite your tongue, Irene. You're not going to tell anybody. And because you'll be first one that'll be locked up in the loony bin. I go, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. And Amanda's the same way. We live oodles far apart from each. She was on the west side. I lived on the east side. She lived near the Japan Sea side. I live near the Pacific side. It's just, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, good luck, right? It's just a little bit crazy cookie.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing around here. Like nobody cares.
Yeah,
They're just like, oh, you're crazy. I mean, they'll tell you,
yeah,
sometimes they'll say, oh, I would never do that, or
yeah,
I would be too nervous. I wouldn't, there's always something. But
yeah.
I was gonna shift to get comfy here. I'm in a weird spot. Um, but I but they don't care. You know what I mean? They're just like,
Mm.
oh yeah, you do that haunted stuff. Oh, that's cool. I
Oh,
watch the shows, and because
yeah,
everybody loves the paranormal shows.
yeah.
But it's people trying to explain this to a friend of mine recently. They're like, oh, but the paranormal's huge. Everybody loves the paranormal. Yes, they love watching the shows. They love talking about it. They love. Doesn't mean they want to be in it.
Or
Like
do it
that's
themselves,
aware.
right? Yeah, do it themselves.
You
Oh,
get them. I would have people when I first started going out and doing investigations regularly. I had people all the time. Oh my god, I want to come ghost hunting with you. That's so cool. You gotta let me know. I gotta come. Can I come? Can I come? Can I come? When you invite the person for the sixth time and they're like, "Oh, I would love to, but," I'm like, "You don't really want to go. Just tell me you don't want to go. I will stop asking." And I just
yeah,
eventually I just stopped because I'm like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
want it, they want to talk about it, they want to watch it, but they don't want to
Mhm,
be they don't want to actually go and be in it. And I'm like, I am the crazy person that
mhm,
wants to be in it and live
mhm,
in it all the time
mhm.
and just
Yeah,
be in that space, um
I
whether
had
or not I'm
people. Yeah,
investigating or just being there in a
yeah.
space.
I had people come and tell me, "I wish I had your gifts." I said, "No, you don't." They go, "Well, it'd be so fascinating." I said, "No, you won't." I said, "Why not? Why?" Because I said it comes with a whole heap of responsibility, and you have to be very careful about what you tell a person that you know about behind, underneath the carpet, and you have to be extremely careful about how much you tell them and when to stop. And they go, "Oh yeah, but isn't telling them the truth about it?" And I go, "Nope, that's not what it's all about. It's about how much do you tell them and how much that you don't tell them that could be damaging to them, especially in how much would it cause a family fight. So you don't tell them everything, right? You keep your mouth shut. And there's a lot of stuff that I know about certain people that happen to their family members that I take it to my grave when I die, and I'll never be able to tell them. Even on my deathbed, I couldn't tell them. And I won't tell them. I won't risk that because it could hurt them or it could create problems in their families. So you just don't tell them. Even though the spirit will tell me to tell them, I said I can't tell them that. And and then I have a full blown argument with the spirit. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to tell them that. My kids, they're the same way as I am, right? All my kids are like that. And they said, "Mom, what are you doing?" I go, "Nothing." They go, "You sure?" I go, "Mm-hmm." They go, "Okay." Mom's talking to somebody. And
Yep.
I said, "No,
No,
I'm not. I'm just talking to myself. Don't worry about it." Yeah, but I have a whole full blown debate about it. I said, "I can't if I'm going to do that." And they said, "But you have to." I said, "No, I don't have to. That's the thing about it. I don't have to, and I won't." And they said, "Well, I'm going to." Well, they're not going to listen to you anyway, so you know that much. And I go, and they said, "Oh, you're right. Okay. So what are you going to do about it?" I said, "Not say anything. That's what." That's what I'm gonna do about it.
Yeah. Well, I think most of when I talk about, the paranormal things that are happening in locations with people,
Mm-hmm.
usually I find that we're most of the fear that we have as humans, it
Mm-hmm.
comes from it's more of
Mm-hmm.
a fear of the unknown
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
than a fear, because most most human spirits, if you're a spirit that was previously human, a
Mm-hmm.
lot, human,
Mm-hmm.
um you're probably a good person. Most people are good, right? There are some bad eggs for sure, but most people are decent, good people.
I know a couple of them that were
Most
bad. I'm
Well,
not saying
no,
all
of
of them.
course. I mean, there for sure
Yeah.
there's bad people out there, but most people are not bad people. And
Yeah. The
we,
majority, okay.
we're the same when we pass, we're still the same person that we
Mm-hmm.
are. We're just in energy form instead of physical form.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, like, I don't, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I go through my whole life as a decent person, trying to, be nice to people and do right by people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, the odds of me after I pass being like, oh, now I'm just going to torture the world is slim. You know what I mean? I'm going to start doing bad. I think
Mm-hmm.
most people aren't like that.
No.
And I think a lot of the people here that struggle with things in their living environment,
Mm-hmm.
once you spend some time with them in it and you interact with them and you
Mm-hmm.
figure out who it is that is
Mm-hmm.
still in their space,
Mm-hmm.
majority of the time, once you tell them, oh yeah, it was just a little old lady that was here before you, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, and then it becomes okay, and they
Yeah.
coexist at that
Yeah.
point. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I love. I love being able to
Mm-hmm.
make people feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
If they want to continue and do more and go to places and investigate, great, I'll help you do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can, at the very least, just make you comfortable in your
Mm-hmm.
own space,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a win for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And there are hauntings too that make people sick in their
oh,
homes. So
sure.
yeah, and there are times when I made a hard choice and I said, okay, I'm gonna cross you over. You may not like it, but I'm gonna do that for this homeowner's sake, so they can feel safe and they can feel the wife of the family can get better physically. And I've done that too, and it's just the decision that I have to make. It's not easy. It's difficult. I like to give them a choice, but in some cases I cannot do that. So I'm looking at it from not just being an investigator, but from um my client's point, right? And sometimes it's okay. You got to make this decision, right? I don't want to do it, but I got to do it, and I done it, and the person gets better physically, gets better physically, um, is able to function again. And so I said, okay, I made a right decision. And the people who I did cross over were happy and said thank you to me, right, for doing that. But I didn't give them a choice. And the thing is, I wish I could have, but for the people who live there's sake, I have to. And it's it's a difficult thing, but case by case you do it. And yeah, sometimes did I make a right decision? Right.
I think a lot of them don't go
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the crossover light is because they don't know where they're going or what it's like
Yeah.
on the other side,
Yeah.
so it's also
Yeah.
probably that fear stopping them
and
too.
and the spirits that I had to do to were killed on that property, and they're buried all over all over the property. So yeah, it's just it's one of those sad cases, and you feel for the people who were murdered by their family members. It's just it's amazing what you find out, right? And the history of the property was it was the slave owner, and then his son took over the property, and his son did no better. He was one of those bad human beings too, and he was a bad energy when he died, so he became a dark energy. So I had to kick him out. And yeah, he was nasty. He was one of those nasty things. But yeah, like when you find out sometimes what happened to them, you don't want to know. Um, and children, you don't want to know either. Like I know, I used to get children's spirits, and it's devastating what happened to them. You just want to tell the world, but then again, you just, how can I, right? It's so sad. It's so horrible. It just makes you cry, actually, to tell you the truth. And I get
Yeah.
children a lot more than adults. I think that's the part that really hurts the most, is having children come to me or tell me their story. They don't necessarily tell me what happened, they show me their story. And I have this vision of what happened to them. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty devastating. And they're children of 1800s and earlier. And yeah, they had fevers, they had whatever, right? Things that you don't even dream of hearing what happens to children nowadays. But yeah, it was something else. That's why I do haunted dolls too, because the children are in the dolls also, and we talk, and then I have conversations with them. They show me what happened to them, like laying in the bed with fever, and mother's tending to the child, and in this big huge wooden bed, and her doll is sitting on the dresser that she really liked, and she died before the doctor could get there, and she became spirit in the doll, and it was so, like, I was sitting there, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like this. It just, it eats away at you, right? But I still do it. I don't think I'd
Well,
change.
you're helping them though.
Yeah,
You're doing a service if you're,
but I don't
if
think
you've
I'd
got
change
it's coming to
anything. Yeah,
yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't say that. If you're giving if
yeah,
you can acknowledge to that
yeah, yeah,
to the child spirit that you've heard their story,
yeah,
I mean, just
yeah,
that simple act is
yeah,
gonna, you know what I mean, hopefully give them a little bit of peace that
yeah,
they've told
yeah.
somebody what happened. So I wouldn't look at that,
No,
that you didn't do or couldn't do anything.
no,
I think that is doing good.
yeah. And then I'd give them choice. If they want to stay, they can stay. If they don't want to stay, they can always come by and tell me what they want to do, either leave
Mhm.
or be crossover or stay in the adult. And I say, you can stay in the adult. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to tell you what you should do. You can stay there. And I tell the owner of the doll, just hug her and give her some loving. She'll be okay, and she won't do anything bad to you. Don't worry about it. That's what people say. Haunted dolls are really crazy. They're really nasty. And I go, no, they're not.
Not all. Some,
it's like
yes, not
it's
all.
it's like educating the people about it. And like, okay, I I think I should do education thing about haunted dolls one of these days, because yeah, people have this really weird concept about it, but they're not really.
Yep.
They're not like that at all. Yeah,
A lot of people assume every haunted object is evil,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yep.
Like it's
That's
not.
yeah.
no.
No,
Nope. Not at all.
you know, but it's a part of life. You live and you
Mhm.
die, right?
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely. Everyone
and
does.
Yeah, and you have a choice whether you want to still stay there, you want to go. It's your choice, and there's nothing wrong with it, right?
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
and I think we should be we are educators, okay, I think, and we are educating the public about it, and telling them it's not like boo scary thing in white sheets and going going to scare people. Like, oh god, I have to laugh. I have to laugh about it because it's so hilarious. Yeah, it's not like that at all, and it's more peaceful. It's more quiet. You know, depending on if it's the spirit that's coming to say hello or giving a message, or if it's a haunting of a house. It's just two different parts of it, right? And one can be a family member saying, I'm here, I want to give you a message. The other one can say, this is my house, what are you doing in my house? So it's how you deal with both of them, and how you make a harmony between the living and the dead. Right?
Yep,
I think that's important.
absolutely.
um what do you feel about certain spirits that need to be heard? What is your feelings
Well,
about that?
well, it would depend on
Yeah.
the how, or like how they or why they needed to be heard.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, I love to be able to listen to them and see if there's something that, if I can somehow get that, open that line of communication to see if there's something that they need or want, at
Hmm.
least give them the opportunity
Hmm.
to talk and to say
Hmm.
what they need. And sometimes I can help, sometimes I can't. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know, unfortunately,
Yeah.
sometimes there are situations where there's nothing that you can do,
Yeah.
but
That's true
if,
too.
if
But
we can just
sometimes you can
listen or
say, I'll give you a piece of candy, I'll give you a piece of chocolate, whatever, whatever that makes you happy, right? I'll give you a
yeah,
cup of tea. I'll give you a cup of tea. What kind of tea do you like? Because you have to remember they were living beings, and they did drink coffee, and they did drink tea, and they did eat too. So yeah, it's just a matter of pleasing the dead as much as they were living.
yeah, bringing, I mean, we would
Yep.
definitely bring gifts.
Hmm.
Depending on where we were going would depend on what we would bring, whether we brought, sometimes we bring toys.
Yeah.
Sometimes we bring, little little alcohol bottles, or
Yep.
sometimes we bring, it just
Yep.
depends on
Yeah.
what they were into,
Yeah.
and we'll leave those.
Yeah. And how satisfying they are because you did that. And they'll always remember you because you did that, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a good feeling afterwards, I think.
The guy that I did a lot of my investigating with, he never went empty-handed any
Mm,
place.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. It's just something that, I don't know. If you don't understand it, it gives you a place to understand it, I think. I don't know if that makes it. It doesn't
yep.
make sense. Okay. Oh, oh God. Ooh, that's why I do a lot of stuff that without people knowing, without them hearing me go, okay, I gotta do this. What do you think? I can't tell you what I'm doing. I'm not gonna explain it, and I can't explain it to you. Okay. Like,
Yep.
yeah. And part of my job, what I do is I give closure. If a family member has passed away, I usually give them amount of time so they can find where they're going. And I have a session in my home. We talk this way through FaceTime, and I say, okay, the client's on my phone, spirits over here, or they're over there, or over there, over there. It doesn't matter. Like, I'll find them, and I'll bring them into my window. It's I don't call it a portal, okay? Because once they're there, we talk, and I send them away. I'll send them back to where they're from, okay? Because I don't leave it open. But yeah, it's really important to have this closure conversation with your loved one. And 99.9% of the time, they're very happy of, what I did. And they're satisfied that they were able to talk to their loved one and say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a heartwarming feeling, I think, afterwards. And aside from going places, I think that gives me the most satisfaction, I think. And it's sounds weird, sounds crazy, but it happens, right? And
Yeah.
and the people who have died, they said, I wish I could talk to my mom one last time. I said, okay, I'll help you. And I go, and I look for it and I go, Mom, are you there? Like, okay, yeah, she's here. Okay, yeah, you want to tell her something? Go ahead and tell her something. And they're really happy about that. And they said, okay, thank you for helping me. I go, you're welcome. Does that help you in any way? Yes, it does. So now I'm no longer sad anymore. I go, okay, if you want to ask her, if you want to talk to her again, just call me up and we'll bring it back out again.
Yeah.
We'll have this three-way again. They go, oh really? Can you do that? I go, yeah, I can do that. You go, oh, okay, thank you. And I think I think it's hard for people who have lost their loved one because they didn't get to say what they wanted to say. So I give them a chance and opportunity to do that in my home.
Yeah.
It gets busy every once in a while.
It's good though. It's good.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you tell them, no, sorry, I'm busy right now, or I've got a podcast. Okay, I can't talk to you. Can you please come back another time? Like, it can be really, like, no thanks. You can be really,
Yeah.
it can really bombard it and it can really bother you, but yeah. Then you have to deal with that particularly.
Mm.
My place is not haunted. It's just, I have this particular ear that I can hear them. And, like, sometimes it's,
Yeah.
like, I'm exhausted. Like, but yeah, it's something that you live with. And
Yeah.
then
No.
sometimes I say, I wish I didn't have this gift. I go, I wish I didn't really have it. To me, it's either, it can be a gift, but it's a curse. Right?
Yep. No, I hear you.
Yeah, and then like, please don't, not today. Yeah, I don't feel good. Okay, I'm under my covers. I put my covers over my head. I said, no, I'm not doing this today because I need a day off too. But yeah, it's 24 hours, right? Okay, be quiet. There you go. Yeah, it's a 24-hour thing. It's 7 days a week, and it's the it's a really hard thing to work with every day. But yeah, you work with it every day. What would be the most interesting place that you want to visit that you have at your bucket list?
Well, I think as far as investigating, I would
Mm-hmm.
love to get down to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in
Or that's a
West
good place.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've toured it I've done a day tour of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I would love to be able to get in there. And I'm hoping, I've been kind of talking about it for he needs his meds still. So he can't put himself to bed yet. He needs meds. But definitely Trans-Allegheny. So
There's one place that I want you to go to and visit if you have the money and the time is Emily Morgan Hotel in Austin,
where's that?
Texas. Austin,
Oh,
Texas.
yeah, I'm not too familiar with that.
It was an insane asylum. It turned into a luxurious hotel. It's pretty nasty. It's pretty wild.
Emily Morgan. Oh, now I'm curious. Emily Morgan Hotel. All right.
Yeah. It's near the Alamo.
Okay. That's a
So you
cool
got
looking
the energy
building.
from the Alamo. You got the energy from that the whole area. The hotels are all haunted.
Yep. Oh, I've been to the area. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how
yeah.
close I was to it, but
Mangar Hotel
I'm
is another
probably
hotel.
close.
Yeah,
But
Mangar Hotel is another one that's in the same area. In fact, they're just next door to each other, and the energy from those two hotels put together, wow, like wow, you know, because a long time ago in the Victorian era, they were they had saloons instead of restaurants, right?
hmm
And
Yep.
they had a lot of shootings and a lot of saloon girls, and you know what goes on, right? Yeah, and a lot of killing, a lot of murders, a lot of
Oh
six
yeah.
guns. Yeah,
Yep.
so that's what happened there, and yeah, you'd have a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would. There's stuff everywhere. I'll eventually make my way across the country. It's a big space.
it's
So,
yeah,
Preston's
it's a big country, you know. It's a big
yeah.
like
country, you know
Preston's
that.
Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas is on my list. Supposed to be one of the
I got
most.
it booked. I'm staying
Oh,
the
do you?
end of July. Yeah, the end of
Are you
July.
staying in a one of the? Are you staying in
Yep,
one of the regular rooms?
I'm staying in Theodora's room.
Oh
That's her name.
wow.
I can never remember her name.
Yep.
That's
So there
telling
was
people
her,
like
Theodora, and then there was a guy. I
Michael.
think that yeah, I think that was his name. I'll learn more when I haven't been yet. So,
Mm.
but so every summer, my family and I, since 2017, every summer we pick a different state and we kind of go around.
Oh
And
wow.
we're doing Arkansas this year, and we're staying in Eureka Springs. And I was like, well, we're gonna be there for a week. So I was like, while we're there, I'm booking the Crescent Hotel for one night, and yeah, I love it. I'm so
Supposed
excited
to be
because it's been on my radar for a while too.
it's
Mm.
supposed to be one of the most haunted hotels in America, and I was telling
Wow.
people like they have two more
That's what
haunted
it.
rooms. Michael's room is supposed to be more active
That's
than Theodora's.
Mm.
so I was going when I called down there to book it. I had asked the guy because I wasn't sure which one of the two rooms I was going to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure too, whether or not I was going to have somebody with me.
Mm.
So just for space wise, they said there's more room in Theodora's room than there was in the other room. So I was like, yeah, I'll just do that one then. And then last summer we went for my 50th birthday. My husband took me, we went up to New Hampshire for the weekend, and I spent 2 nights in uh, the Princess Suite at the Mount Washington Hotel that was built back, it's one of those big, it kind of looks like if you look at it, it kind of looks like the Stanley Hotel a little bit, the big
Oh
white
wow.
wooden building. Yeah, oh, it's
That's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
And
Oh.
she, her, after her and her husband they were the Stickneys when they built the Mount Washington, and then he passed away, and then she
Mm-hmm.
went on to marry a European prince. Don't ask me what European country he was the prince of, but he was
Mm-hmm.
a prince of some European country. So she
Mm-hmm.
now acquired the title of princess. But
Mm-hmm.
she still went back. She still went back every summer and stayed at the Mount Washington because that was her summer place. It's where she loved to be during those beautiful months because you don't want to be up there little chilly the rest of the year, up just covered in snow. But that had been something place that I had wanted to go for forever. But
She.
they charge so much money for it, and
Wow.
they make you stay 2 nights, and there was just no way that I was doing something like that. It was just wasn't going to happen. Except for something special. So I was like, my 50th birthday, I'm like, this is what I want.
She
So,
still resides that place. I know that. I could see her. Man, she's beautiful.
oh, she's there. She's definitely there.
Yep,
That I know.
yep, yep. She wears a
So,
beautiful, big, huge gown, and her hair is done up, and she's really pretty looking.
yep,
Yep.
yeah. She had the where she had a room.
Hmm.
She could see people arriving, and then there was a spot over the restaurant too. When
Hmm.
everybody went down for dinner, she was always, they say, fashionably late
Hmm.
applies very well to her, because she could actually, from her vantage point, could look down into the restaurant and see what all the other women had chosen to wear for the evening,
Hmm.
so that she could make sure that her dress was better, that she choose one, that she was always the nicest dressed person in the
Wow.
room, so she could
That'd
see
be
what everybody was
interesting to
wearing
see
first.
her. That'd be interesting to see her. You know
Yeah.
that, like,
So,
it'd be amazing to see her.
yeah, so the hotel is stunning, and they it's it's a top-notch service. When you
Mm.
go there, they at least you know when you pay a lot of money to go someplace and they treat you like garbage, you get
Yeah,
Yeah.
aggravated.
yeah.
This is not that. They are like,
Wow.
they acknowledge that you're there and you're paying to be there, and they treat you that way. It was amazing. The food was amazing. We got massages. That was amazing. We like literally, the place is just, it's gorgeous. So,
And you get guests. You get you get the people who live there too as guests,
yep,
right?
yep, yep. So, but
That's amazing.
mm,
You know, that's a part of it that's so amazing about especially places like that. You
yeah.
know, it's it's just something to see. I think.
I heard with
Um.
For sure.
Theodora's room though at the Crescent Hotel, whoever you're with, don't fight with them because they said one time a married couple checked in and they were fighting about something. They were just fighting, having an argument, unpacking. Then they decided to go get some food, and they said when they came back, Theodora had all their stuff repacked and their suitcases waiting by the door for them. And they said they just checked out. They're like, we got the hits and they checked out.
That's amazing. Yep.
That's when people
No,
say,
yeah, no, most likely, I think at this point, I think I'll be there alone. Because I don't think that the other family whose daughter wanted to come with me, I don't think that they're going to make it, unfortunately. So
Oh.
that won't be a problem. It'll probably just be me. But it's all right.
Yeah,
It'll
but
be
you
good.
know,
It'll be an
as
experience.
long as you check your energy before you go in the room, you
yeah, I
make
was
sure
gonna
you,
say, walk
yeah,
in
you're
there,
not,
make sure they're there.
For sure.
yeah,
No, it's always good. It's always
yeah,
good, and
yeah,
I'm careful with myself, and
yeah.
it'll be all right.
It'll be interesting to see here afterwards what energy you got and what you found out.
Yeah, I don't. I'll have to do some more research to figure out, what the right, questioning
Mm,
topic,
mm-hmm,
type of things
mm-hmm.
ahead of time, but I will. I'll figure it out. We'll get in there. It's good.
When you
Just
do
to
that,
see the hotel too.
when you do that, will you come back and tell us what you
Yeah,
found?
sure, sure.
Because that'd be really cool to hear
Yeah,
about what was your energy and what you found and what did she say and like what how did she feel, did she greet you or you know were you able to stay in the room? It'll be interesting to see hear from you when you come back,
yeah,
so maybe we could
for
do part
sure.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be back. I'll be back. Yeah, later on, late summer.
Oh, that'd be
So
great. That'll be great. um
yeah,
Maddie, you got anything?
No, we're just talking about
that's
the haunted hotel, and it's been on my bucket list with that.
Yeah.
I
um
wanted to say, but And that's the one thing I always tell people is you can actually book the 2 more active rooms ahead of time, which is what I would do.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because if you're gonna stay in a haunted
Yeah.
hotel, you want the more active rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay. I would love to experience both of them, but I can't do,
Mm.
I'm only there for 7 nights. So,
Mhm.
and I still have to have my family vacation too,
Yeah.
as well. So, but it is cool to be able to go and to be able to room hop. That would be awesome. I
Mhm.
was supposed to do that on the Queen Mary.
Mhm.
Um, I was booked. Yeah, it was like April 5th or something like that, in
Mhm.
2020. 5 days, 5 days before I was ready to go. I got the notification that they no shut down the planes, shut down the hotels, shut down everything.
Oh dear.
So that
That was
sucked.
disappointing. Yeah. It
Oh,
was.
it was awful. And I was taking my niece with me.
Mhm.
We were going to be there for 5 nights. I had booked, I think it's like B340 is their their like main haunted room. I booked that
Mhm.
one, I think for 2 nights, but then I had asked them, what are your other haunted rooms? So the other 3 nights were supposed to be in the other rooms.
Mhm.
And like I'd booked a tour to be able to go down like into the
Mm.
bowels of the ship and everything. And it was upsetting when that all got canceled. And then everything opened back up again. And my
Mm.
niece had said, "Hey, can we go do that?" And I was like, "No," because she was in the Marines at the time.
Mhm.
And out in California, she was at a base out there, and she was going to be off for a few days, and she was going to come out. And between then and then post COVID, she had gotten kicked out. So I said, "Well,
Oh dear.
not rewarding that behavior."
No.
So
Oh
that was the
well.
end of that. But
I'd love
it
to
is
see
what
the
it
Queen
is.
Mary. That has its own little, urban legend there.
Yeah.
The Queen Mary?
Yeah, there's a lot going on over there. A lot of
Mm.
things. But and I had no desire to go anywhere near the area. It's just that's where the ship is docked. So,
Mm.
but otherwise I have zero interest in going to LA. So,
Mm.
but
Yeah, just a chef alone, right?
yeah,
That's
just the ship. That's all I want. Like I don't like flying. I don't like cities. I don't like literally everything I don't like was it. But I would have done it for her and well for me too. I mean, it was a little bit for me,
yeah.
but I just couldn't afterwards. I'm like, I can't
Mm.
reward that behavior.
No.
So she's a
Would you
good
go
kid though.
would you go back to that hotel if you had a chance to?
Go back to the Queen Mary.
Mhm.
Well, the ship
Oh yeah, to the ship. Yeah, no, I definitely would. I
Mm.
would definitely go. It's just gonna have to be. It's just gonna have to work. Make sense because it's a bit. I mean, it's just costs a lot of money because I got to
Yeah.
fly out there to
Yeah.
fly to the other side of the country, and then
Yeah.
and all that goes into that. But
Yeah.
I will, I probably will if it stays open and keeps running. I'm sure
Mm.
someday I'll get there eventually.
It'd be
But
something kind of like maybe a good bucket list to look forward to, probably, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. It wasn't. I think we chose it because of where she was stationed. She could get there easily, so I would really only have to fly out.
Mhm.
Um, and she could have gotten because they did shuttle services from the base to
Mm.
LAX all the
Mm.
time.
Mhm.
So she could have gotten a shuttle service to LAX for the time that I was going to land, and then I was going to just rent a car or would get an Uber and then go to the ship together. I mean, the intention was we weren't planning on ever leaving the ship. Like
Mm.
that was it. So We'll see. I don't know what's going to end up happening, but
It's
You know
amazing.
what?
never
You could
know.
also visit Alcatraz too, while you're there.
So Alcatraz, there's going to have to be some serious changes to San Francisco before
Yeah.
that'll ever happen, because
Yeah.
I would never people I knew a couple guys that were out there late last year, and it was a big thing. They went out, they were filming. They had
Mm-hmm.
been, I guess, a bunch of places. They had filmed a bunch of locations. They were gonna take it back and have make these videos and all this stuff. And they went to go visit Alcatraz. They weren't even investigating it. They went to go visit it, and they came back, and their car had been broken into, and all of their camera equipment and everything. And I guess they had like 7 nights worth of investigations or something. All the SD cards were gone. Like everything was
Oh,
just gone. Like they lost the entire trip because San Francisco is a pit right now.
Darn,
And they
you're
don't
right.
care. They
No.
actually, in San Francisco's advice to the residents is if you just leave the back of your car open so that people can go in and root around without damaging your car, that's what you should do. Like, why do I have to leave my stuff unlocked and exposed so the
Yeah.
criminals can root around in it? Like that, no.
That doesn't make sense. No.
No, but that's California right now, so
I've never been to
it'll be.
California, and I don't know if I ever want to go to California.
It's so sad because it's a beautiful state. They have
Yeah.
the scenery, it's gorgeous, the weather, but it's just, but I mean, I could say that about half the other states too, so
Yeah. I've been to California. I've been there. Actually, it scared the bleepers out of me because it's frightening. I don't think I'd ever go back.
yeah, I mean, if they cleaned up the crime and
Yeah.
they cleaned up the streets, I would definitely go. But
Mhm.
as it stands right
Nope.
now, I'm all set.
Mhm. I kind
But
of get it.
there's
Yeah.
there's plenty of other places that
That are
are
safer.
beautiful, and
Yeah,
yeah,
say
they're
part of me
beautiful,
wants
they're safe, they're welcoming.
Yeah.
So
part of me would
I
love to see it, but I could deal. I like you said, safety wise, probably price wise at this point too.
yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
the
really
cost. I
expensive.
mean, it's so
It's expensive as the heck to go there.
Expensive. I think it has some of the highest gas prices in the U.S.
Yeah,
if I remember.
yep.
I
And it's already
think.
ridiculous as it is.
Hmm. Well, see, it's getting ridiculous all over the place. To tell you the truth, you know, nothing's
As it
cheap
is.
anymore.
Nope,
No,
nope, nothing is.
No,
But
and I don't think it'll ever be.
no,
Oh well.
have you
Oh,
been to the Queen Mary before or not yet?
nope, nope. That was going to be the first one. What are
oh
you going
well.
to
Yeah, I'd
do?
love to see that. It's just amazing how many ships end up haunted.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've got a great one right out here by us. Not a cruise ship. It was the USS Salem out in Quincy Harbor that never saw battle, but it was used as a hospital ship for
Mm.
it was in the Mediterranean when there was a big earthquake in Greece. I want to say it was sometime during the 50s, and it was
Mhm.
used as a hospital ship. So it's had a lot of death on it, and
Mhm.
um but they're not, and and then there were two other, and outside of the earthquake there were other two accidents that happened on or near the ship that resulted in some loss of life.
That'd be
But
interesting too.
yeah, that one's good fun. That one's good fun. We're not sure what exactly is haunting that ship, but
You going?
Oh, I've been a number of times.
Okay,
So.
that's interesting. That'd
I've
be
never
cool
been
to find
there in
out.
that one. I've heard of the new USS North Carolina. Know a lot of people who've been on that one.
Yeah,
That one's that's an aircraft carrier, isn't it?
yeah,
Is that
Yeah.
North Carolina? Yeah.
yeah.
This is it's a heavy cruiser. I'm not very well versed in ships, and while I've heard it 1,000,001 times, I can't remember what kind. But it's big, but it's
Mhm.
not nowhere near that aircraft carrier size.
Wow, that's interesting. Go ahead, Amanda. I can't think right now. My head's a blob.
I'm trying to
It's
think what that ship would be, especially size wise.
mm,
Usually it's the size that makes it different.
I can't think straight right now.
It's the USS Salem is a destroyer.
It might be. Like I said, I'm not. I don't really know what it is.
It's a cruiser. Okay.
It's a cruiser. Okay. Yep. Des Moines class cruiser.
Mm,
I don't know. It's wonderful, and it's cool
mhm.
because like the guy, the group that does the paranormal, the man
Yeah.
that runs that group, like he's an old sailor too. So it's just it's just it. And you get in there and he starts talking about it, just the
Mhm.
passion that he has for the Navy in general.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then, it's so
The guy who
That's
runs the USS Salem?
Hmm?
Is that what you're talking about? The guy who runs the
USS
USS
Salem.
Salem?
Yeah.
Yep. Which is nicknamed the Sea Witch.
Ooh.
We have come full circle.
Wow. There we go.
There it is.
Written down.
I feel like Salem is probably more. I feel like Salem is more haunted only because people go there and they feel like they have to do seances or
Mhm. Yep.
rituals or
Oh,
something. And
yes. It is everybody there now that has brought all this energy in.
yeah,
Wow.
that's what I say about a lot of these famous haunted locations is it's haunted now because of what people have done, feeling like this is the perfect opportunity, this is the perfect place to do this ritual or seance or whatever,
Yep.
not
Yeah.
realizing they don't know what they're doing, but they've seen it on TV or seen it in a movie.
Yeah. It's
This is
just
not the best way to learn.
no.
If you see it in Hollywood, it's probably not how you do it correctly.
No.
Yes.
And they're
Hollywood has
messing with
taught me how to ride dragons. Doesn't mean that I know how to do it or that it's even feasible. So it's yeah, you definitely
is
wanna.
you like you think, what the heck are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
So we
well, we
find one
don't do
thing
that.
with
But
paranormal is people open portals, not realizing they open a portal, realize they don't know how to close a portal.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
But
you bring in, you got to put back. And a lot of people don't realize they open it and they bring it in. They get oh, well, so much for that. See
yeah.
ya. Bye. Like, what? What the heck did you do? Like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
I don't know. I
But,
just did this, and they go,
but I am gonna have to wrap up soon
Yeah,
though, because I
I was
am.
gonna say it's
Okay.
getting late for
Right.
you. We do appreciate you
Yeah, it
coming
is
on.
late, and like I said, we got here, and it's always something. The first trip out, what did we forget? It's our blankets, and it's cold, so
Oh
I have
dear.
no blankets.
Yeah.
So I've got to go find a Walmart somewhere. I think
Okay.
I googled one
Yeah.
earlier. I think there's one about 3 miles away, but I got to go find
We will
no
definitely have you
blankets.
on again sometime, so
Keep
you can hopefully
warm.
Yeah,
Okay.
tell us about the Crescent
I
Hotel
will.
later on.
We'll be all right.
And everyone who watched, thank you for joining us. We'll see you
Yeah.
next time. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.